Hi, good morning, folks. So, we have so far looked at business structures, which is part of Unit 3, and we kind of split it into two halves. And the first topic that we looked at was private and public corporations, and then different types of private corporations, of which there are four. Okay, so just really quick on your fingers, what were the four business structures that we looked at last time? Okay, so you should have just got sole traders, partnerships, private limited companies, and public limited companies. Okay, and we spent quite a long time, 3 lessons or so, looking at the advantages, disadvantages, and characteristics of each of those different business structures. Okay, there is, in fact, a fifth, which is a little bit different, which is why we've separated it out. But there is a fifth business structure, and we call these cooperatives. Okay, so what we're going to look at today is cooperatives, how they work, what they are, how they're different to a traditional private company, and the good points and bad points of them, obviously. Okay, so what I want you to do first off is have a read through, obviously open up today's workbook pages and have a read through. It's quite a lot of information. Okay, so have a read through. What is a co-op? It describes it. Okay, what they are, their values and principles, and then what are some of the key characteristics and principles that govern cooperative businesses. Okay, so have a read through this. It's probably going to take you, to do it properly, take some time with it. Probably take you 5 minutes or so. But yeah, have a read through this bit of text to start off today. Okay? Okay, so now we've got some questions. What is a cooperative? And you can describe this. How does a cooperative differ from public limited companies in terms of the structure of the business? How does a cooperative differ from a PLC in terms of its objectives? And how do cooperatives benefit stakeholders? And stakeholders is anybody that's got an interest or is affected by a business's decisions. So that could be things like local communities, workers, managers, consumers, suppliers, anybody that's affected by what a business chooses to do. Okay, so I have a go at writing some notes in here. It doesn't matter if you're still just guessing, but most of the information, if you've read this thoroughly, you should be able to now have a go at filling in these four boxes. Okay, so pause the video, have a go, and then we'll have a quick discussion in a few seconds. Okay, but do pause the video and have a go using that bit of text above. Okay, so a cooperative is a private business, so they're not government ran, they're not charities, they are selling goods and services at market prices, so then they're nothing like public companies, public sector companies, so government ran companies, and they're not charities or anything like that. But they are businesses that have deep roots in helping society and the communities and not just being profit driven. Okay, and that's quite a difference between other types of private business. Okay, so how does it differ from in terms of structure? How does it from a public limited company? Well, public limited companies are, as we've discussed in the past, profit maximizers. They're trying to they're trying to make as much profit as possible for the shareholders, so the business can grow, it can reinvest, or it can pay off that profit in the form of dividends to the shareholders. So it's a very capitalist, profit maximizing, could be producing negative externalities and not really caring about those. That's the free market, isn't it? And that's what public limited companies are, and private limited companies and partnerships and sole traders. A cooperative is much more based on helping its workers, ensuring that they're well trained, they're safe, they earn a good wage, they're providing high quality products at reasonable prices. They're not giving it away, it's not a charity, remember, but they're much more rooted in the community and helping society. Okay, so if you have a look at some of their key principles, is that anybody can be a member. So you don't have shareholders. Anybody can be a member of a cooperative, and then you get a vote. One member, one vote. So major decisions are decided democratically, and they are independent businesses that are really They're ran for the benefit of their members, and their members could be primarily their workers, but it could also be members of the community. But yeah, think of the word cooperative. It's people cooperating to run a business to benefit each other. Okay, so I guess it doesn't really have the parallels with socialism, not really, because it's still a free market business providing goods and services using the forces of supply and demand. But it's not just following the free market. Okay, so how does it differ from PLC? We've already discussed that. Okay, so rather than just being a profit maximizer, they're much more invested in the welfare of their workers, producing a high quality product for the customers, and selling it at good value. Okay, so they're probably not likely to put a huge margin on the costs of production, but they still need to make a profit and be sustainable, but their main objective is not profit maximization. Okay, so how does it benefit stakeholders? Well, basically, they're going to pay a fair price for their supplies because they want to benefit society. So they're going to use things like fair trade, which means that if you're importing raw materials from a developing country, you're going to pay a fair price for those materials. You're not going to exploit any monopoly power that you may have got. You're going to pay a fair price. Consumers are going to get high quality, high value products because they're not being exploited. And the local communities, that they're going to operate in a way that has the lowest negative effect in terms of noise pollution, air pollution, river pollution, whatever it might be. They're going to take that into account. Okay, so it's more like a caring, considerate business. Okay, so what would a definition be? Well, it's basically this first line, I think. A co-op is a group of people acting together to meet the common needs and aspirations of its members, sharing ownership and making decisions democratically. I think that's a good definition. If I was looking for that in an exam, I would be like, yeah, that's dead on. 2 marks. How does it... Oh, no, we've got wrong questions. So what I want you to do now, a little bit of a projecty task here, is go and find some. Okay, find an example. I've written an example. Find several. Have a look around. See. There's some big ones in Spain. There's obviously the co-op group in the UK and internationally. Have a look around. Find some cooperatives. If you just Google cooperative examples or cooperatives in UK or Hong Kong, wherever, find some examples. You could go on their website. They'll probably have a big section of their website dedicated to who are we, what are our principles, what makes us different, those kind of like headers on the website. Have a read and then just make some notes on these 3 questions. Who are they? So what's their name? Where do they operate? What goods and services do they offer? And then what uniquely makes them a cooperative? And have a look on their website and what uniquely makes them a cooperative. What are they doing? Why are they not just a private business, an LTD or a PLC? What makes them a cooperative? Okay, so do that, spend a bit of time on that. This is all we're doing today, so you can really spend a bit of time reading this first bit and also doing this research task. So spend a good bit of time on that, maybe 20 minutes doing some research, reading around, having a look, reading some different companies, and then have a go at filling these boxes in. Okay? And then the final bit is obviously we need a quick evaluation of cooperatives. Hopefully I'll get them right this time. I think I've got one wrong on the last video. So again, pause the video. Final part of today. Read through these. Do you think this is an advantage or a disadvantage of the cooperative business structure? Which remember is our 5th business structure that we've looked at. Okay, so hopefully you've done that and you're not just waiting for the answers. So let's have a check through, finish up today's lesson. So customers benefit. Co-ops exist to create value for customers and not to make big profits, as we've already said this, haven't we? So that might mean higher quality and lower prices for consumers. That's clearly an advantage, isn't it? Okay, so they don't operate just to maximize profits, churning out really low quality, cheap products at a high profit margin. They're much more interested in producing products that people want and at a high value. Okay, so they're producing them value products. Okay, I've described that really badly. It basically means as it says, high quality and low prices for consumers because they're not just interested in profits. Okay, I'm rambling too much today. Sorry, it's first day back. Shared ownership and decision making. Ownership is shared. Shared decision making for the good of the community. So that's an advantage. Okay, it could have been a disadvantage because you're talking about slower decision making possibly. But remember, if you're a member in the cooperative, then you have a right to attend meetings and one member, one vote on major decisions. Okay, so it's a democratically run business. Lack of training and experience. Co-members may not have adequate skills and experience to manage the business, leading to issues. That's obviously a disadvantage because each member has a vote. What if they don't know? What if they don't? They're like, not everybody's an expert in business or economics. So if they're voting on an issue that they don't fully understand, maybe that would lead to poor management. Decision making. The decision making process may be longer and more difficult. Just mention that as clearly a disadvantage. Yeah, because if you've got to call a meeting and have a vote on every major decision, what if you need a decision like fast? Okay, there's a massive economic downturn like the world's experiencing at the minute. We don't want to all have a vote. We want some decision making. We need some leadership, and that might not be present in a cooperative business. Education and training, provide education, elected members. Yep, that sounds like an advantage to me. Issues with members, conflicts may arise. Yep, because everybody's cooperating and everybody gets a vote. Then again, you might have conflicts. Concern for community. Yep, they're often associated with green operations, ethical operations, fair trade, all these things that make that limit damage to the environment and societies by trying to be sustainable. External financing, they also might find it hard to raise finance to grow. Okay, but again, rapid growth might not be a massive objective for these types of businesses. They might be quite small and contained within one region or one country. Rapid growth probably isn't going to be one of their main objectives, as it would be with an LTD or most PLCs. Okay? So hopefully you've now got a good idea. That isn't a huge amount of work on this sheet. You're only looking at 4 pages, but if you've done it all properly, as in you've read all the description, you've done your research task, with the little Zoom meeting at the start, that's probably enough for a double lesson. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense and it's nice and simple. Yeah, nothing more to add. Hopefully that wasn't too long. I feel like I did talk too much and I still am now, so I'll let you go. Okay.